Hello everyone, this is Simon from writtenlegalenglish.com and welcome to this end of the week video. On Tuesday, I asked you to have a look at a horrible text. One huge long sentence, information everywhere, horrible, non-legal English ambiguous words used in that text. And I asked you to think about it, and I asked you to think about how you would communicate the main messages in a plain but yet professional legal English way. If you didn't see my video on Tuesday, this is the text I asked you to read, those are the tasks I asked you to think about, and under that is a very brief analysis of the problem of shall and provided that they are understood as meaning different things. Shall can mean must, may, will, or should, and provided that could be understood as creating a condition, creating an exception, or simply just adding information. If you want to find out more about shall and provided that, then click on the links below this video to watch those explanations. Or if you want to think about redrafting that message, then pause the video now and take a few moments. If you just want to see how I redrafted that text, then keep on watching. The first thing I asked you to do was to break the text down into shorter sentences, and here I show you two different ways which that could be done. The first way is simply two shorter sentences. The first sentence is still long, but even though the second sentence is really short, it does make the text easier to read. If, however, as I said on Tuesday, you might think about doing this, you want to use tabulation, then you might come up with something like this. So if I go through them one by one, on the last day of the lease term or on any sooner termination, tenant must. So here is the first occasion of the first time we meet shall. So I think shall here is creating an obligation. In that case, I want to use the legal English verb must. Tenant must surrender the premises to landlord in the same condition as when received, allowing for ordinary wear and tear. Second sentence, the premises, once again, that obligation, must be clean and free of debris. Or we could use this in a tabulated form, as you can see there. With the first problems being dealt with, so with the first set of information being broken down into shorter sentences or being tabulated, we can now focus our attention on the problem of provided that. And I say it's a problem, but it's a problem in two different ways. First of all, it's an ambiguous word, so what does it exactly mean in context? The second problem is the function that it is playing in this sentence. If you can see here, it's after the semicolon, which means that provided that is being used as a linker or as a connection, much like you would use however or therefore or consequently or something like that. So because of that function, what this is communicating to me as the reader is that the first part of information is somehow related to the second part of the information. But when we read that text, at landlord's request, tenant shall remove at tenant's sole cost and expense all cabling installed on behalf of tenant. For me, this is a separate issue. This is not directly related to the information that was beforehand. So for me, and tell me if I've got this wrong, I always like reading your comments if you agree or disagree with me. The first set of information that we dealt with a few seconds ago sets the rules. So you've got to give back the property and it's got to be clean and free of debris. And then we've got this second bit, which is what happens if something else happened. And if that's what we're trying to communicate, which I think is the author's original intention, then using provided that as a linker or as a connective is a drafting mistake. Rather, this should be a sentence by itself. So I think this sentence should be if the landlord requests. And I think it's a conditional because of the way the original sentence is drafted, at landlord's request, which means, as I understand it, if the landlord requests the tenant to do so, the landlord might not request the tenant to do so. So here I think this is a conditional. Tenants must remove. So here I think this is an obligation. Tenants must remove all cabling installed for or on behalf of tenants at tenant's sole cost and expense. And here you can see that I've just changed the order of the information, putting the clause at the end of the main sentence, which gives us the benefit of losing one of those commas. Okay guys, what did you think about my redraft? Did you think that I understood and redrafted the sentence correctly, or did you think that I did it completely wrong and that you guys would do a better job? If so, then please leave a comment below, both positive and negative. I always enjoy reading what you guys are thinking. And if you like this content, make sure you like this video and subscribe to make sure that you catch all of the content that I put out every single week. Okay guys, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you again on Tuesday with another clause from the same lease contract.